snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys! So today I am here to do some very exciting miniature reviews. I actually am going to be reviewing lots of children's graphic novels and children's fiction books, so I'm quite excited. This is what I'm going to be reviewing. All of these I was sent by the publisher, so I got these 4 from the Quarto Publishing Group, who are publishing a new series called Little People, Big Dreams, which is what all 4 of these books are part of. It's a non-fiction children's series. And the other 2 books I was sent by Nobrow, who are a graphic and children's illustrated book publisher, and they are fantastic. These are 2 different series. This one is a graphic novel and this one is a children's fiction picture book, which I loved both of. So let's get into the reviews. I'm going to start with the Little People Big Dreams series. I'm going to go from my least favourite to my favourite and tell you a little bit about what each one is and why I enjoyed them. So my least favourite in the series, but by no means a one that I didn't like because I still really like this, was the Frida Khalo book. This one is written by Isabel Sanchez-Vega and it's illustrated by Ji-Fan Eng. This one I definitely still found interesting. I think it's basically a really beautiful look at Frida Kahlo, who is or was a Mexican painter. She painted lots of self-portraits because she had a medical condition which basically confined her to bed a lot of the time. And so this book basically tells children the story of her life in very simplistic but very easy to grasp terms. I liked this. For me, the biggest thing about this that was a detractor was that I'd already studied Frida Kahlo in school and college, so I already knew a lot of the stuff in here, and in fact I knew a lot more detail than was given in here. Basically this is just a sort of introduction series and it's something that kids could easily get into. So in terms of giving you the overall important facts of her life, this definitely does that, and it does have beautiful illustrations. But for me personally, I already knew about Frida Kahlo, so I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. I definitely liked it still. The other one that I gave 3 out of 5 stars to was Little People Big Dreams Maya Angelou. This is written by Lisbeth Kaiser and illustrated by Lair Salaberria. And again, it's part of the same series. It's very short, they're all about 30-ish pages, and they're beautifully published though. The reason I gave this 3 out of 5 stars and not higher was because the artwork wasn't my favourite. It's quite cartoony, which works for the story. It tells the story fine. It was very clear, very easy. But for me personally, the artwork just wasn't my favourite. I did find the story of Maya Angelou really interesting. She was someone I really didn't know very much about, so this was actually a perfect entryway into finding out that little bit more about her, which I really enjoyed, and it definitely made me want to go off and read bigger, longer books about Maya Angelou and find out a lot more about her life, so that's probably something I will do in future. The next one I read was the Coco Chanel one, and this one I gave a 3.5 out of 5 stars because I enjoyed this one for the artwork a lot more than the others. This is again written by Isabel Sanchez-Vega and illustrated by Ana Albero. As I said before, I think the artwork in this one is probably my favourite of the series, although I also love the next one. It's a lot darker, it's a lot more like muted colour palette. I really, really love it. You can see that there's sort of pencil sketchy drawing behind, and I really like that about this. I think it's just a very, very beautiful design, a very beautiful way of drawing. It has kind of a really pristine geometric shape to it, and I really like that. So this one worked a lot better for me. Again, all I knew about Coco Chanel before going into this was that she had something to do with fashion and she sold perfume, and that was pretty much it. So this was a great introduction to finding out a bit more about her life and what she did and how she became the designer that she did, and I really liked that in the end. The other thing I forgot to mention before is that if you get to the end of the books, there's this little pink box right at the end, and in these pink boxes there are a list of other books that are actually very similar and will tell you a bit more about whoever the character is that you're reading about, so in this case Coco Chanel. I really like that idea that they give you a sort of extra reading list if you're interested to go and check out more of the stuff about her, so that's really cool. And the final one in the series that I have to review and that I really, really enjoyed and loved the most was Amelia Earhart's. I think for me, this one was the most interesting in terms of the personality. I had never even heard of Amelia Earhart, which is probably really bad, but I hadn't. And so this was just fascinating to me to find out about her story. She is a young girl who dreams of being a pilot and does some incredible things in her lifetime before she goes missing, and I loved learning her story. I just thought this was an excellent entryway into that story of hers. Also, within the book, I just think there are some absolutely beautiful spreads. I think the way that the artist has chosen to represent some of these flying spreads makes me so happy, and it just brings a smile to my face. They're just beautiful. They're really simple, but they just are beautiful. So I loved that. And this one again was written by Isabel Sanchez Vegra, and this one's illustrated by Maria Diamontes, and I really like this one. So I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars overall. As a collection, as a series, it's definitely one that I enjoyed. I would love to pick up some of the others in the series when they come out as well. I think that this is a series that is absolutely perfect for young kids. I would say like 9 and under probably. You could go older than that. It's kind of dependent what interests your child might have. It's also a great series in terms of the illustration. I really loved the illustration of this and the Coco Chanel one. I think they're beautiful. So that's a great thing to have, and they're beautifully put together. So thank you to Quarto Publishing Group for sending these to me for review, and I definitely enjoyed them, and I will certainly be on the lookout for some of the others in the series when time goes on and they get released. So overall, great on those ones. The next one I have to talk to you about was sent to me by Nobrow, but this is actually published by one of their imprints called Flying Eye Books, and this is Archie Snufflekins Oliver Valentine Cupcake Tiberius Cat. This is written and illustrated by Katie Harnett, I believe. If I remember this correctly, she's actually the illustrator for Jen's new book, Jen Campbell. I'll put a link to her channel. She's releasing a children's book, and Katie Harnett is actually the illustrator. So I was very excited to get this because I didn't request it, it just turned up. And it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You may or may not know that I love cats. I have a cat. When you go inside the book, it has beautiful end papers. I mean, they are just stunning. So beautifully put together, and it's all about this cat who goes between various people's homes, and he gets various cuddles and snuggles and treats at all the different people's houses that he goes to, and there's one house in the neighbourhood where no one goes, so one day he sneaks in there and he befriends the old lady who's living there. I just really enjoyed this. It was a really sweet story, like beautiful, sweet, kind and caring, and it was just really touching. Even though it's about a cat who just adventures around, it was just really moving, really lovely. So I think this would be absolutely perfect for young kids and children, and I also think it's absolutely beautiful. So this is definitely one I will be keeping because I just love the illustration style and I think it's fantastic. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars as well. The final one that I have to review is by Luke Pearson, and it's called Hilda and the Bird Parade, and this is published by Flying Eye Books, who are again part of Nobrow, so they sent this to me. This is actually the 3rd one in a series. I didn't realise that when I read it, but it doesn't really matter because each of the stories within the series are a standalone, so you can read them as like one adventure and then go back and read the previous ones. It's totally fine, and I really enjoyed this, I have to say. It was just fantastic. Not only is the art fantastic, I love the character design. I love the fact that she has blue hair. That just makes me instantly smile. And I just think that this story is about a young girl who is very opinionated. She knows what she likes and she knows kind of her morals are very strong, and I just think she's a great character for children to sort of sympathise with and learn about and enjoy. She doesn't bow to peer pressure. She definitely has her own way of doing things. She's kind to animals. She's very about nature, and she's just a wonderful character. And in this story we see her as she moves from the wild outskirts of the mountainous region to a city and has to start learning all of the ways of the world again. She goes and finds some new friends. She also finds an injured bird, and she gets lost. So all sorts of things go on within this book, and I just think it's fantastically written, fantastically put together. It's beautiful, like thick paper that's really nice to hold. As a story, I thought it was fantastic. As a design, I thought it was great, and I just think the whole thing worked really well. So I also gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, and I definitely want to pick up the rest in this series because they just sound fantastic, and I've already fallen totally in love with the main character of Hilda. This is a series I'd recommend for all ages, not just children. I think it's fantastic and I think it's so fun, and I will definitely be picking up more of these in the future. So those are all of the books that I have to talk to you about today. They're all children's or illustrated. Let me know if you guys are interested in any of them, which ones appeal to you. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you to the publishers for sending them to me, and I will see you in my next review. Bye!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.